With the Obi-Wan Kenobi series in full swing, a lot of plot points are being questioned. From the infamous toll gate that Obi-Wan Kenobi and young Leia Organa could have simply walked around, to the whole narrative that Obi-Wan Kenobi didn't know Darth Vader / Anakin Skywalker was alive. Are these head scratchers from the Obi-Wan Kenobi series enough to make us stop watching Star Wars, or even worse, make us hate it? Or could it just be that we have a certain affinity to the material created by George Lucas himself? In the Star Wars galaxy, there have been numerous plots that have not lined up exactly right. Not just in the content released under the Disney umbrella, but in the original trilogy and later trumped by the prequel trilogy of the Skywalker saga as well. So today, I'm going to discuss some of these plot points from the original 6 movies that absolutely cannot be unseen. And this is my warning. This is no way putting down any of the creations made in the Star Wars universe by George Lucas or Disney's Lucasfilm for that matter. And I do have a point to this, so stick around to the end. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Gerald, and I'm a Star Wars fanatic, and you can be a Star Wars fanatic too. All you have to do is hit that subscribe button, turn on your notifications. Subscribing is absolutely free. We may not agree on every topic that I talk about, but we do agree on one thing. We love Star Wars. Okay, with that said, let's get on with today's topic. Star Wars is a galaxy full of wondrous things, but some of those wondrous things you have to suspend your belief for, which isn't a negative thing at all. Well, not completely. At least not when considering it's meant as fantasy. Yet, there are still some things in the galaxy far, far away that leave us scratching our heads, even with belief being suspended. Let's start off with the ancestral elephant in the room. The first one being Luke and Leia kiss. It's well known that the entire detail of the Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader story had not been completely written from beginning to end when filming started. At least not when The Empire Strikes Back was released in 1980. So, when Leia kisses Luke to make Han Solo jealous on Hoth, no one thought anything of it. In fact, it made a nice love triangle to spice things up in the story a little bit. But when Return of the Jedi was released in 1983, it was revealed that Leia was in fact Luke's sister, born of Darth Vader himself, making that kiss really awkward. Number 2, sticking with The Empire Strikes Back, I'm telling you, for the most popular movie of the franchise, this one is full of them. Luckily, I only picked a couple. When Luke leaves Yoda's training and Dagobah far behind to rescue his friends on Bespin, Yoda is talking to Force Ghost Obi-Wan Kenobi. Obi-Wan tells Yoda that the boy is their only hope. Yoda then interjects, "No, there is another." This moment left us all scratching our heads. Well, those of us old enough to remember it in 1980. In Return of the Jedi, Obi-Wan tells Luke that the other Yoda spoke of is his twin sister, Leia. Pretty simple to grasp. But remember, I said the details had not been worked out, and when The Empire Strikes Back was released, there was no plan to make Luke and Leia siblings. So who was Yoda originally talking about? Who was the other that was originally going to fill that spot that Yoda seemed to put more faith in than Luke Skywalker himself? We may never know. But with the new content released, I like to think maybe he meant Ahsoka Tano. I know that's not what was meant when it was written, but hey, a guy can have his own headcanon, right? Besides, Yoda never told Luke, and neither did Obi-Wan Kenobi, for that matter, that Leia was the other hope. Only that she was his twin sister. I mean, who wants to tell Luke Skywalker that they had a backup plan because they figured he would fail anyway? Number 3, The Empire Strikes Back one more time. When Force Ghost Obi-Wan Kenobi appears to Luke Skywalker on Hoth, he tells Luke to go to Dagobah and learn the ways of the Force from the Jedi Master who instructed him, Yoda. However, when The Phantom Menace was released in 1999, it was blatantly obviously shown that Yoda wasn't Obi-Wan's master. Qui-Gon Jinn was. Now, maybe he didn't mean the strictest of terms in master. Maybe he just meant Yoda instructed him to send him Luke Skywalker. But that isn't how it was implied. Number 4, and this is the last big one. After this, I'll give you a 5th one, then I'll give you an honorable mention. For this big one, let's refer to Return of the Jedi. Luke has some news for Leia. Exciting news. Pretty big news at that. But first, he has some questions. The biggest being, what do you remember of your mother? And surprisingly, Leia remembers quite a bit. Most of the things that she remembers, you would expect someone to remember if they were 5 years old when they lost their mother. Along comes Revenge of the Sith, and Leia was a newborn when her mother, Padme Amidala, died. As I mentioned before, the plans for Luke and Leia weren't completely drawn out. It wasn't until the prequels that Bail Organa was revealed. In fact, Bail Antilles was even mentioned in The Phantom Menace. Maybe Bail is a common name for the good people of Alderaan. Regardless, it wasn't decided until the introduction of Bail Organa that Leia was going to be his adoptive daughter. Before that, it was just assumed that Leia and her mother went into hiding on Alderaan and changed their names. Yes, I know what happens when you assume. Be that as it may, how did Leia remember those bits about her natural mother when she died during childbirth? Number 5. And this one isn't that big of a deal, but Luke completely forgets how to use the Force. In The Empire Strikes Back, Luke gets beaten down and captured by a Wampa, a snow beast looking to make Luke Skywalker his next meal, after he finishes his Tauntaun breakfast, of course. Luke musters his energy and uses the Force to call to his lightsaber, spring it to his hand, frees himself, and makes short work of the Wampa's arm. I don't condone the killing of innocent animals looking to survive. Luke could have just ran away. But I digress. Moving forward to Return of the Jedi, Chewbacca springs a trap. The bait is made of a white-tailed deer with teeth stapled to its booty. Our lovable Wookiee springs the trap, and all the heroes involved are caught in a giant net, set by the lovable Ewoks. While trying to figure out how to get out of the trap, Luke asks Han if he can reach his lightsaber. Always sure of himself, Han obliges the request and bends himself like a carnival clown to gain possession of the Jedi's weapon. But why didn't Luke just use the Force to get it? He had proven it could be done, and at this time he was calling himself a Jedi Knight. When Obi-Wan was a Padawan, he had super speed and could push battle droids over with a single swish of his hand. Surely Luke Skywalker, with that mighty Skywalker blood, could pull his lightsaber 1.5 feet to his hand. Maybe the net was made of Mandalorian Beskar or something and prohibited Force use. I don't know. I do have a point to all this, and that is, would the Star Wars films be as popular if they were written today? This is a whole other kind of generation watching the films, a more critical generation, one that doesn't take plot holes lightly. That isn't a bad thing, unless they're watching Star Wars, of course. George Lucas was notorious for tinkering with this creation. It seems he never really fully had a detail of how he wanted minor or even major plot points to play out. Here's the honorable mention. Did you know there is no sound in space? So how is it that throughout Star Wars we hear TIE fighters shooting, X-Wing engines roaring, and the Millennium Falcon's hyperspace jump from a third-person point of view? Dramatic effect, that's how. It would be boring to watch a silent space battle. But with all of this said, is it really that difficult to suspend your belief for a moment to watch these newer shows? I mean, we did it for the creator for decades. But I guess it's all up to the individual, your opinions, and your likes and dislikes. But if we can suspend our belief for the original Star Wars movies, can we not also suspend our belief with the newer material made? After all, it is a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. It's fantasy, and everything doesn't have to make perfect sense to our own logic. Do you have your own plot holes you'd like me to mention, whether it be from the original 6 films, the Skywalker saga, and the last films, or any of the television series? Let me know in the comments, and I'd love to talk about it. I'll bring it up and make another list. This is Gerald from Star Wars Fanatics signing off, wishing you all great health and happiness. Thank you for watching, and remember, this is the way, the only way.